Welcome to Coffee with the Bishop. We're glad that you're here. We're doing a second part wrap-up, review, and sharing from my recent trip to Ecuador with the Diocese of Ecuador Central and Education Equals Hope, where we were hosted by Roberto and Cameron Vivanco and the team at Education Equals Hope. You heard from Brenda Martinez in our last podcast, and today we're going to hear from Cameron and Roberto.
Mm-hmm.
Roberto works at English Fellowship Church as a pastor there on staff. He preached for us this past November during our convention, Diocesan Convention, because we made officially, I'm going to scramble my grammar there. We officially made Cameron and Roberto Vivanco and Jorge and Laura Estévez missionaries of our Episcopal Diocese of Upper South Carolina.
We are very proud to have them.
And of course, they are supported by folks from congregations around the country. Of course, they are supported by a couple of other so-called dioceses. I'm looking at you, North Carolina, Eastern North Carolina. But we wanted to stake a claim. And they have a very long relationship. They actually met, as you're going to hear, I think in the interview, at the Advent in Spartanburg, where Cameron and Laura have both served on staff with youth and families in the past, and where they continue to have long-standing relationships. The work that they do through Education Equals Hope was really born out of a vision that you're going to hear about from Cameron. But as we listen to them, a couple of things I just want to bring up is that one, I'm drinking a really delicious cup of medium roast coffee from Ecuador, and I brought back coffee and chocolate.
I mean, yeah, what else do you bring back from Ecuador? And the chocolate's amazing. I haven't had any of the coffee yet, but it smells really good. And so I'm looking forward to having some of that in the near future.
We also I did also bring back some gifts from SA, one of the ministries there that's helping to end slavery, and particularly working with women in prostitution, which is not always their chosen profession, oddly enough.
Huh. What about that?
And so bringing the gospel and hope and a way out. When the women come out, one of the things that they give them is a trade, and part of that is making jewelry, which you can find through the Education Equals Hope website and other connections through Youth World. They have a number of ministries that they work with, and you're going to hear actually us talk about the Estévezes. They run a home called Casa Gabriel, as well as a number of ministry sites connected. They've sort of grown out of that they as a group, they call Second Chances a cafe, garage, now a little small restaurant, which is just sort of Jorge's sort of desire to give people work and a hope and a future, and getting to meet not just the boys who currently live at Casa Gabriel, but also who come back through when we're there, when the team is there. It's really amazing. So you're going to hear about all of that. But I did want to go back to the team that we took from here. Suvan organized our group, and we're going to talk about that briefly in the interview. But the group that we took from here in Upper South Carolina to support Juan Carlos Cañeras included Dorian Del Priore from Holy Cross Simpsonville, Taylor Gibby from the staff at Trinity Cathedral next door, and also two deacons, Suvan herself and Tim Ervelina. We had a fantastic team of folks, and the host team from Education Equals Hope were fantastic. David, who was with Brenda, fellow coffee nerds. So not only did I get to go and help and serve people and get to teach and preach, which I love to do, but I also got to hang out with other coffee geeks who made sure that I had lots of good coffee. And there were a lot of gift exchanges and stops at coffee shops. And
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
The love of Christ and the sacrament of the cup of deliciousness.
Goodness.
It was great. And so part of the idea of commissioning missionaries from our diocese is the recognition that it doesn't always happen in the Episcopal Church, that our vocation in the world is to share the gospel of Jesus Christ and the revelation of the character of God as grace, mercy, and forgiveness. And we often, in the language of the church in recent history, have talked, and I say recent like in the last 500 years, in terms of missions being people who have the brilliant light of Christ, knowledge and revelation and education and culture, and we go out to people who don't have those things. And I think what we've discovered in the last, the last 50 years, if not long before that, is that what we actually do is a lot more like going out and finding light where God is already at work, and people who have their own culture and their own knowledge and their own revelation. And so when we bring the word of Christ to them, it's often, especially in a world where the gospel has been spread around the world, and in a place like Ecuador where the gospel is there, what we're actually doing is bringing the gospel to people who maybe haven't heard it or who have been wounded by people who were offering it before. But we bring that not just with knowledge and the scriptures, but we bring that with love and care and medical help and help with educational fees and the offer of relationship. And so what I saw when I was traveling in Ecuador was people who were seeing the image of God and helping to help that image in people that they did not know flourish, and then helping those people become part of the body of Christ. And oftentimes, frankly, we're giving help and support to people who are already part of the body, but we have something to offer them. And maybe it's support with educational fees, maybe it's medical care. And sometimes it's just, frankly, community attention and care. And you can't share the gospel if you believe that the gospel is about God's loving care for people without attending to them, listening to them, and helping to fill their needs.
Yeah.
And so that I think you're gonna hear this in the Vivancos about how easy it is to hear what they are doing that is so special. And part of what they've offered to us as a diocese is not just that they represent us out in the world, but they invite us with them into a mission experience where you go. And we don't call it a trip, because a trip means it has a beginning and an end, and we're like tourists. We take our bags and walk through and shout the gospel at people as we drive by.
Yep, that's right.
Right?
Yep.
And instead learning that we are formed in the gospel as we not only share it, but as we allow ourselves to enter into deep relationship with others who carry that gospel within.
Yep.
So you're going to hear about Cristo Liberador. You're going to hear about how Cameron and Roberto met.
Oh, yeah.
It's really interesting. We were in the church where they met, and then a few days later, we were at the retreat center where they actually got married.
And I was shocked to hear, because I didn't know this part of the story, but when they first met, it might be that they didn't like each other very much. And they're going to go into that. And that, I laughed out loud when I heard that part, because it's just so perfect after meeting them and seeing how they love each other. And it's such a deep, abiding love. And they did not like each other at first. And that is very funny to me.
And these longstanding relationships, the other funny thing about this is that because we have longstanding relationships between the diocese, Education Equals Hope, and the diocese in Ecuador Central, there's a lot of humor. And a lot of folks from our diocese have watched their kids grow up as they come back every year. And they have a daughter and two sons. And one of the sons was in the school musical while we were there. And so the whole team stayed up after 3 days of leading retreats and exhaustion and driving on the bus, but we all really wanted to see Graham sing and act. And so it was hilarious. That's a story for another time, but they have really talented and wonderful children as well. And just like we've gotten to watch them grow up with each other, we've gotten to watch their kids grow up, and it is a family in the truest, deepest sense of the word.
Absolutely. And before we introduce the interview, one thing I wanted to say is that, as always, we'll have links to information about Education Equals Hope, Casa Gabriel, and when Cameron was talking, she said something that struck me that was interesting. She said the best way to do short-term ministry is through long-term partnerships. So if you want to be part of our long-term partnership, we're going to put links in there, ways that you can help invest and become a long-term partner in this thing we call ministry. So without further ado, the interview?
Absolutely. Hola, amigos and amigas from the Diocese of Upper South Carolina. We're here in Quito, Ecuador today with friends and missionaries for our diocese. Although I feel bad claiming both of you just for us because Cameron and Roberto Vivanco have had ministries that stretch to many dioceses, and Education Equals Hope does work literally around the world. And so while I do claim probably more than I should, I am grateful to be in ministry with these two. And we're here today to talk about the work that Education Equals Hope is doing right now. We have always news of expansion, particularly in the last couple of years. And also celebrating having just finished up a week with a small team here to support the Diocese of Ecuador Central. I keep wanting to put it in the right direction. It takes me a second. Bishop Juan Carlos is a close friend, not only of mine, but of both of them. Have been in ministry with Juan Carlos for years. He's been in relationship with our diocese for decades. And as bishop, he asked a group of us, led by Sue van Rautenkrantz, to come, that we all know as just Sue Van, to come and do work with both a lay retreat for members of the diocese and also a clergy retreat for 3 days at El Refugio. So how are you guys doing, Vivancos?
Doing good.
Doing well. Thank you so much. Hello.
Yeah,
that was some great Spanish that you opened with.
Thanks.
It's good to see the bilingualness is rubbing off on you.
Yep.
A few sentences. No, we should probably say a few phrases at a time.
Oh, it's super fun to get to be with you and to record a podcast. Equals H here in Ecuador, we also have a podcast. We've just been on a really long break, so this is fun to be back. And maybe God will use it to get us back.
You mean when 2 years ago when I recorded one, we actually reduced the number of listeners to the podcast? It was a real tragedy. Shut the whole thing down.
That's exactly what happened. It was when we had you on, and then listenership just like plummeted. No, not at all. But it's really fun to be here, and so thankful for the team and the ministry that's happened this week, and all good and wonderful things. And we claim Diocese of Upper South Carolina very much, as we obviously in November got to be named missionaries of the diocese and not just from the diocese, because prepositions matter. But we are really thankful for people all over the United States, especially in Diocese of North Carolina and Diocese of Eastern North Carolina, and all sorts of places all over in and outside the Episcopal Church that have come alongside us. So it's good stuff.
Yeah. And the Episcopal Church does have missionaries. That
I've learned that.
a few years ago, right? When you guys have been associated with SAMS for how long?
I landed in Ecuador 24 years ago, April 4th. And I started with SAMS, I guess, in January of 2001. Do you guys remember that? Do you remember 01?
Oh, yeah.
That was it was a minute.
We were all excited because we survived the millennium bug.
Yes, exactly. And no one died in the Y2K computer crash that didn't happen.
Yeah, we all knew it was going to.
Shout out to my friend Tolman, who worked on that and made sure it didn't happen. That is his claim to fame.
They did some awesome work.
But so I've been with SAMS since 2001, and Roberto has been with SAMS since
2006.
2006, yeah.
20 years.
20 years, yeah, way to go.
Yeah, pretty good.
Is it? The SAMS is the ministry, the missionaries ministry of the Episcopal Church, which, by the way, the official name is the Domestic and Foreign Mission Society, which
That's
is
true.
not commonly known outside of people who do a lot of work with the home office. So
I used to start all of my sermons that way. Like, hey, did you guys know that you're all missionaries? And then people kind of like would freeze and like roll over and be like, oh my gosh, no, don't say these things.
Does that mean I'm going to have to share the gospel with other people?
And talk about Jesus?
It has been a lot of fun to hang out and share our dry sense of humor all week.
Trying to translate it, it's hard. It's hard.
Roberto has translated, 5 talks and 2 sermons for me. You can just see the trauma sometimes when he has to translate.
Yeah.
Hey, I did one.
You did.
And I am still traumatized.
It took a whole village. The lay retreat was the best. We have a group, Suvan and Tim Ervelina, both actually come out of the Diocese of Upper South Carolina as deacons.
Woo woo.
Suvan's been in several dioceses, but will take the claim, even though she just retired to us out of Washington, D.C. Tim, on the other hand, retired up to North Carolina, as people are sometimes wont to do, but joined us again this week as deacons, representing the deacon order. Taylor Gibby, representing the laity from Trinity Cathedral, and on staff there with youth and families, and Dorian Del Priore, who's also been on staff at the cathedral, but is now the rector at Holy Cross Simpsonville. So it's a great small team, and we did a 1-day lay retreat, which was fantastic.
Really good.
I mean,
Really
it was a lot of fun to watch a group of folks accept us and open up and talk about the ministry that we all share. And then a bunch of workshops crammed into one day and all over the diocesan offices here in Quito. And then we went up to El Refugio, which is you guys have had a long relationship with.
Yeah.
We got married there.
True.
El Refugio is a camp and conference center that is under the Youth World umbrella. Youth World is the organization inside of Ecuador where I first came to work. And it is the umbrella under which Educational Hope is nestled for operations in Ecuador and only in Ecuador. We have to have legal entities in every country where we work so we can do things legally, because we're not actually trying to launder money. It's actually supposed to go to the right people, do the right thing. So that's what Youth World is. All that to say that El Refugio is another one of our kind of sister ministries underneath the Youth World umbrella. And so we've gotten to be there since it started. I think it started in 1999, according to your sweatshirt.
Yeah.
And I've been a part of it. First time I was out there was in 2001.
She's only mad because I didn't buy an Education Equals Hope sweatshirt because she didn't have one for me to get, so I had to get something to keep me warm.
Yeah, we need to work on that stuff.
Being up on the mountain, sleeping in a cold room, but we had a lot of fun. I'm going to take a hard right for like 30 seconds and just say part of what's made Education Equals Hope expansive into other parts of the ministry of the Diocese of Upper South Carolina, particularly our ministries in Haiti in the last couple of years. And Celeste Bundy from Education Equals Hope has been a huge part of this building of relationship and trust, is the way that you built accountability in really early on, and is such a core part of doing ministry with dignity for the people who are being ministered to and with, and that's an important distinction, so that they become a part of their own process of building a life and not just receiving a handout.
Absolutely.
That core accountability piece, which we joke about transparency, but it's absolutely built in from the early stages. We're now using that same system, bringing Education Equals Hope structure to the ministries and the schools that we've had decades of relationship with, and always kind of struggled with how to do accountability. And so this a really wonderful cooperation between a long-standing set of ministries in Conch, Haiti, and the surrounding area with the structure and the accountability process that Education Equals Hope has been using has just brought a new dynamic to not only the relationships within the diocese, but also our relationship with our partners, and just I just want to talk about that for a second because I feel like that's such an important part of what you built into this structure.
Yeah. Being on the mission field, again, I came in 2002, and I have the privilege of just seeing so many different organizations out there who are doing really good things. But then you also hear the really horrible stories along the way. And there were a couple of them that happened early on in my, I didn't know it was going to be a career, but I guess I can say in my career here in Ecuador. And so when Educational Hope started with Laura Farinango, it just made sense. I had been taught in our ministry sites that accountability was good and helpful, and it kept everyone moving in the same direction. And I always counsel people that you start that way, because if you don't start that way and you try to do it later, then it comes in with other emotions, like you're checking up on me, you don't trust me, you don't think I can do this, what have I done wrong? You feel like you're under a microscope. But if it's from the beginning that this is just what we're going to do, and we're all going to be as transparent as possible, and accountability, financial accountability with receipts is a really easy. I mean, it's not always easy. It's hard to get a taxi receipt in the middle of nowhere, but you can figure it out, and we'll be kind and gracious with you while we figure it out. But at the end of the day, we have to have receipts so that we can, as my mom used to say, good fences make good neighbors.
Well, and I think, we talked a lot at the retreats this week about the way that God has creating human beings, created us with a dignity that expresses the character and nature of God. And when we treat each other with that full dignity, we're just beginning to outline the gospel in the way that we treat people, so that action becomes proclamation when it's done with that kind of love and care for who the person is, not just for the situation that they're in.
Mm-hmm. Very true, indeed.
And you guys, Roberto, you're from Ecuador?
Yeah, I was born here in Quito.
And you guys met actually at Cristo Librador.
Yeah, I was leading the choir, I guess that's the term at this point. And we had a big group. When I was at the church 20-some years ago, we had like 30 people singing. It was pretty much the youth group. 2 services at the church, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, and packed church. And it was cool. So we had a rehearsal during the week, and then Saturday nobody came to my rehearsal. And I'm like, what's going on? And
I didn't know.
And she was having a Bible study at the same time, and everybody went over there. I was like, what is up with this? And so, we didn't like each other for a good 6 months.
I didn't know he existed or that the choir existed. I just showed up where they told me to.
True. But, it's been great.
That was 20 years ago?
Yeah,
Thanks,
it was
baby.
20, this year. In August will be our 20th anniversary of marriage. We've been together for like 24 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the
23.
23.
Yeah.
It's fun to watch because Cameron is this outreach machine. Everywhere we go, someone's walking out of a crowd to come give her a hug. Mm. And Roberto is so quiet and is a pastor here at the church where we're recording today, and plays music and preaches. And even when our team was working and we have all these clergy on the team, he's sort of gently guiding, watching our interactions with especially the clergy community. And so it's this introvert, extrovert relationship. It's really fun to watch the two of you together.
Shout out to you, Amy.
Yeah, thank the Lord. And your kids are a big part of watching. They've lived a ministry life.
Yes.
It's fun to watch. It's fun to watch them. And Jorge and Laura Estévez here in country are at Casa Gabriel, one of the under that same umbrella.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And also doing outreach as part of the Community of Education Equals Hope. 2 of our missionaries from the diocese, we've gotten to have dinner with them and spend some time at Casa Gabriel. And and their kids, watching all of them play together and grow up together and do ministry together.
Yeah.
Laura likes to say our children are it sounds better in Spanish than it does in English, but fake cousins.
Right. It probably does sound better in Spanish.
They grew up like as though they were cousins.
True.
That one of the things that has been so inspiring for me and that gets renewed when I come to the country is in Cristo Librador, there's a mural on the wall where teams from the Diocese of Upper South Carolina had come to do ministry over decades and sort of done little projects, painted this and tore down a wall, put up a wall. And right now they're building a new Cristo building a few blocks away, and we just got to be in that building for this trip, and it's taking shape. They said later this year.
I'm sorry?
It's taking shape.
No, you got to be there on this trip.
Oh, yeah, she's a thing about the word trip.
Mm-hmm.
She prefers excursion, adventure.
Excursion. Yeah.
And I also picking on you. I derailed it. Back to you. Yes, we know it's important not to say the T word, the trip word, because it's about much more than just the person with the suitcase.
That is a fair point. But as people with suitcases, part of the joy for us is getting to be in spaces where we see relationships extend over decades. Mm-hmm. And so even as this church community, which is its own living thing and has been for long before we were here, as we've come back to them and they're building a new church and they're doing that work. And some of our teams, including Holy Cross, have been a part of that even recently. As they were working, and we're telling stories. There on the wall by the entrance is a replica of that mural, bringing that history into even their new worship space, which means the world to all of us who've gotten to be a part of the mission here. But it's also kind of just that evidence that these relationships, they're not a group of people coming and bringing. They're groups of people over time doing ministry together in the name of Christ and bringing different blessings and different ways of being community and getting to work with both the laity and the clergy on this occasion. We'll call it a trip.
Good job.
Thanks.
Gold star.
The kind of the beauty of that is each one of the members of our team, Tim was new to the country, but even he, you're in relationships with people doing ministry, and we're learning about how they're doing ministry in places that we don't, and in situations where we won't, and they're doing amazing things. And so being able to sort of brainstorm and work together and kind of bring what we've learned from our context and give them the opportunity to talk about how that might fit in their context or not. And also get to worship together, get to love each other. And Juan Carlos and I joke about being brother bishops, and our dioceses are sister dioceses, and our communities are interwoven together into one body of Christ, even though we only get to see each other on occasion. And so I just think that the beauty of those relationships over time is part of what makes this so special, so that a journey is only part of the vast weaving that God is doing.
It's true. It is really amazing to me to see all the different ways that God has knit the Diocese of Upper South Carolina and the people of Ecuador together. And part of the people of Ecuador is the Diocese Central. And the churches here, there are 4 churches in the diocese that run the Equals H program. There are 2 or 3 that we're hoping to start the program when God provides the funding. We'd like to open with them in desperate and difficult situations, the students that are in desperate and difficult situations. But it's more, it's so fun to see that it's so much more than a particular denomination. Like, we get to see the kingdom of God I didn't know how Episcopalian I was until I started working outside the Episcopal Church. And was like, wow, you do that? You do that? And I think of Laura and Jorge Estévez. I think of their ministry. Jorge's such a visionary. Of the 27 ministry sites where Equals H works here in Ecuador, and we have 1,437 students this year. I know that because of the Christmas cards.
Yeah,
and if you've
there you
ever
go.
listened to the Hopecast, you know about the Christmas cards. But 10 of those 27 sites are Hope Centers with Laura and Jorge through Second Chances. Second Chances is such an important partner. And actually, Laura and Jorge are now Equals H missionaries. So some of their funding for them as a family is coming through Equals H now. So we get to claim them even more, that they are so intricately woven into this and reach out to places that the Episcopal Church here can't even reach out, just within the cultural dynamics within the country, and getting to see young people, their lives transformed by it seems silly to say this, but by so little, like financially so little.
Right.
Never calling Jesus so little, because that's the thing that drives all of it, and there's nothing tiny about Jesus in any way, shape, or form. The kingdom of God is beyond our explanation. But to watch Laura and Jorge, their ministry with the boys in the home of Casa Gabriel, but over 500 students that they are impacting. And every time I see Jorge and we have a meeting, he's like, Cameron, I've got a new site I'd like you to come take a look at. He does the incredible lead work inside the country that I'm not going to be able to do as a mom of 3 and supporting Roberto and his pastorate here at English Fellowship. And I can't pop in the car and go out 6-hour drive to the coast and dodge the gangs and be like, yeah, let's open up a site here. But Jorge does a beautiful job of that, and Laura supporting him in that, and their kids. We're just so pleased, and it's a gift and a privilege to get to work together. I learned a long time ago at the Church of the Advent that it's not either or, it's both and. And I feel like we get to live that out with Laura and Jorge and their ministries.
Since you bring up Church of the Advent from the Diocese of Upper South Carolina.
Shout out.
In Spartanburg, South Carolina. I think that you and Laura actually met there once upon a time.
Oh, now that you mention that, yes, we did. We met in 1995. How many people listening to this podcast were alive in the 1900s? We work for an organization. Our umbrella organization, obviously, is Youth World. So there are a lot of people that are 26 or younger that we get to work with. But we did. Laura and I met at 1995. Her father hired me as the youth minister. He was the senior warden. It's all Kit's fault. He hired me as the youth minister, and Laura was in 7th grade, and we got to do 5 years of life together when she was in junior high and high school, and then God has kindly and graciously continued to weave our lives together.
Again, just returning back to how our lives and ministries across decades, across dioceses, around the world are woven together. And I feel like there's just a litany of names that we could talk about from our diocese, from here, from Africa, from Haiti, all of these places where the work of the church is sewn together, and we aren't even aware of how far out that web of connection goes, even though Cameron seems to be tied to a lot of those threads, right, Roberto?
Yeah.
I do want to give a shout out. Sue Vaughn has been coming here for almost 25 years.
Decades, yeah.
And
2007, I think, was her first.
Oh, yeah, so 19 years. And her putting this trip together at the request of Juan Carlos was a great gift for the rest of us. And it also, I just wish that, it's hard to communicate in a podcast. There are so many times when you go out into the world to do ministry and you meet new people, but the rare opportunity is to come back to a place time and time again and watch people grow up. And Suvan, who lives in the States, has watched people here grow up over decades, and our communities have watched. We've watched a lot of our folks have watched your kids grow up from when they were brand new, and knew both of you when there were no kids yet. And the interweaving of all of this work means that we aren't dropping into people's lives. We're not shouting the gospel as we drive by in a bus, but we're getting to live together over decades, building relationships, not only getting to proclaim the gospel, getting to hear the gospel. And I think time and time again, I found myself in rooms with people don't necessarily wear a collar or have a title, who proclaim the gospel back to us over and over and over again. And at the close of our time with the clergy, we had a few lay folks in that group from the Diocese of Ecuador Central, and one of the women was asked to give the blessing over us, over our team, and she, as she prayed, it was just the evidence of the power of the Spirit working in ways that we don't name with official names. We just get to sort of hold it as the Spirit blows by wherever it wishes to go. What a great gift.
Amazing. And it's the best way, the way I condense what it is that you just talked about. The bad part of the podcast is you can't see Roberto and I both like nodding vigorously.
I am still here, by the way.
We're nodding with what you say, but the best way to do short-term ministry is through long-term partnership. And that's what we get to do. So it's a joy and a privilege.
So we support the work here of Education Equals Hope, and both the Vivancos and the Estévezes through our diocese. And I just invite you, whether it's a congregation, an individual, or a company, to join us in that work of support and to consider doing a short-term mission with long-term folks and become a part of the life that our diocese, that our communities, that our ministries share along the way with Christ. Thank you for being a part of it. God bless you all.
Coffee with the Bishop is recorded at the George Alexander Diocesan House in Columbia, South Carolina. It is produced by the Episcopal Diocese of Upper South Carolina and edited by Jessica St. Clair Smith. Do you want to hear discussion about a particular topic? Have a question for our bishop? Do you and your study group have a disagreement about a matter of theology that needs settling? Send it to us at communications@edusc.org. Coffee with the Bishop is our twice-per-month podcast. We hope you'll also join us in 2026 as we read What the Bishop Reads, a new initiative to read good books and think deep thoughts together. Notes along the way, our bishop's personal written meditation to you is available by email each week. More information on both is available at our website, www.edusc.org.